Right. Before we actually officially start class today, I just want to remind everyone that the registration for the paid classes in September has started. To register, it's really simple. You just need to have your parents WhatsApp me. Just tell them, send a simple WhatsApp message to request the form. And of course, I'll send it to them and they will fill it out and whatnot, right? And I'll also send this graphic in front of you so they can analyze the timetable and the prices, well, fully. So let's move on and let's start today's class. We're going to start off with some quick revision. A lot of the work today, you are going to be doing it because we're just practicing everything that we learned from since the beginning of the summer. I want everyone to try this question. You have two things to do. First of all, you have to solve it, and then afterwards, you have to factorize it. Just quickly, did we do this question last week? Does it look familiar? Just take a look back in the notes. I think this, or someone said, yes, we did this question, right? So it's this question we have to do. Did we do this one in front of you here? The x cubed minus 4x, right? So start on this one. You have to do two things, solve and factorize. Remember, when you are solving, you have to you have to pretend this whole thing is equal to 0. And you have to guess the first value of x that will equate it to 0. And just to refresh your memory, you usually start in the exam like this. You replace x with 1. If that doesn't work, try minus 1, and then 2, and minus 2, and then 3, and you go straight down the line. So get started and let's see how fast you can finish this particular question. And let's see. Right, so let's divide it and let's see what we get. So once we get x squared here, x squared, multiply both of them. That's x cubed minus x squared. Right? And as you all remember, you put a minus sign here and a minus sign here. So your brain doesn't forget that you're minusing both of them. Right? We're supposed to get 0 here, and we will. Minus 4x squared minus, and our minus is a plus. We're supposed to get minus 3x squared. Then the positive 5x joins the party. Right, so take it from there. Right, so we say the x into the minus 3x squared, and then we get minus 3x. We take this, we get a minus 3x squared and positive 3x. Right, I hope that's correct. Put a minus sign and a minus sign. Get 0 here, that's easy. We're supposed to get 2x here after minusing, and then minus 2 drops down here. X into this is positive 2. Multiply back both of them. Yep, and look at this. When we minus it, we're going to get 0 and 0. How much people could agree with this quadratic on top? And you notice we got this 0 as well, which means x minus 1 is indeed a factor. So whoever said x was 1 was a solution, you got that correct. Right? So how do you get the other two solutions? Very, very simple. You just need to solve the quadratic, and there are different ways you can solve a quadratic. My preferred way is to use the quadratic formula. So solve it quickly and get the other two solutions. Right? That's it. The other two solutions are also, now here's the thing, you're getting 2 and 1 again. You're getting another one, a positive 1, right? So I think that confusing a lot of people. They didn't realize the first solution was 1. That's the one we guessed. And you expected 2 different answers. One of them was different, but the other one was the same. Okay? All right, Gemma, correct. So just make sure you get the other positive one. Too much people are saying -1. But when you rectify that error and you realize it's +1 again, please let me know on the chat. Now, here's the thing. We have to factorize it. When we are factorizing it, we have to put it in what? Brackets. And how much brackets we have? 1, 2, what pairs? When I say brackets, I mean pairs of brackets, 2. Right, so I'm going to show you how to write the answer. You put x in 1, x in 1, and x in 1. And yeah, even though the 1 repeats, you have to write it back. You must. So you're taking the opposite of these numbers and you're putting it in the brackets. The order doesn't matter, right? Now, here's the thing. In the back of some textbooks will write the answer like this. And in some textbooks, they will write it like this instead. You see how you have the x minus 1 twice? Some textbooks will write it like this, x minus 1, and they will put a squared. And then they will put Mr. x minus 2. Any version is 100% correct. And CXC is not going to care. All right, so anyone you wish. But if I just say, if I had to choose, I would choose this one because it looks cooler. That's the only reason I would choose that one. Right, so for those who didn't submit an answer, at least let me know, hey, I finally got the answers, or I saw where I went wrong, right? All right, so, well, as the graphic says, let's try some past paper style questions. Right. This is where you guys come in now in full force. I put the question on the screen, and then in 5 minutes, I'm going to jump in. Get started. And don't feel shy about sending answers. Okay, so first of all, they said that x plus 2 is a factor. And what do we know about factors? That if we divide it, the remainder would be equal to 0, exactly equal to 0. Now, there are two ways you could find the remainder. You could take this and do the big, long division, the stuff that nobody likes. Or what's the shortcut to finding the remainder? To find the remainder, all you have to do is take what you are dividing by, which in this case is x plus 2, put it equal to what? 0, and then solve for x. So if we solve for x, we will get -2. Now, all we have to do is go and replace all the x's, every single x that you see, with -2. And since we are claiming this is a factor, when we replace all the x's with -2, it's supposed to be equal to 0. And when you put it equal to 0, you will form an equation. Just solve the equation. And that's all you really need to do, at least. So we're replacing all the x's with -2. But remember, when you're replacing an x, let's try our best to do it in what? Brackets. So let's hope that you have it like this. 2, open brackets, -2 cubed, -5, open brackets, -2 squared, plus a -2 plus a, and it's supposed to be equal to 0. Now, you got to be careful when you have stuff in brackets. You see how you have a cube here? This cube only belongs to the -2. And usually in a case like this, I will take the -2 and cube it first on my calculator, but I'll make sure and put my brackets, and then afterwards multiply by 2. Because sometimes when you do it forward like this, if you forget the brackets, it will give you the wrong answer. So I have a good feeling I will get -16 here. -2 squared is +4. +4 by -5 is -20. -2a plus a. So if I do that, -16 -20, that's -36 minus 2a plus a is minus 1a. I can put the 1 if I want to. You don't have to put the 1. Is equal to 0. To solve for a, even if I don't put the minus 1, I actually might make it easier on myself. If I want to solve for a, it's really easy. I just have to throw across minus a on that side. It becomes positive, regular, boring a, and you're left with minus 36. So a is minus 36, not positive 36. For those who got it wrong with the sign, just double check it. There's a small mistake you made somewhere. All right. So let me know when you are finished rectifying the errors and whatnot. Right. Some people made a mistake. They added this portion wrong. Right. Minus 2a plus 1a is minus 1a. Some people put minus 3a here by mistake. Right? Other questions, sir? Let's move down. This one is a little bit scarier looking. It has 2 parts, right? I just want to point out this one. All right, now I won't point out the trick in this question as yet, but take a 5 minutes. All right, so for part 1, it's almost the same concept. They want us to divide by x minus 2. So whatever we are dividing by, the shortcut method to finding the remainder is to put it equal to 0, and you just simply solve for x. Obviously, if we solve for x here, we're going to get positive 2. But that's not the end of part 1. To find the actual remainder, we have to do what now? Go to this equation and replace all the x's we see with positive 2. So let's try that. We're going to try to find the remainder here. We have 4 open brackets, 2 cubed minus 7, 2 minus 3, right? Now there's no x squared. Once again, I know there's no x squared, but don't let that bug you. Like I said, it's one less thing to deal with. 2 to the power 3 is 8. 8 by 4 is 32. 7 by 2 is 14 minus 3. How much does that give us? 32 minus 14 minus 3. I am getting 15. So my remainder is 15. So for those who got the 15, well, you had it correct, right? For those who got 40 something or a different answer, well, I think you can see a mistake here. You have to work out the brackets first. 2 to the power 3 is 8, and then multiply it by 4, which is 32. Right, so part 1 was only 2 marks. Well, guessing by looking at the amount of marks part 2 has, it's going to be a long question, right? Right, so let's do it the long method because we want to get that quadratic so we can factorize. So 2x plus 1, sorry. Now here's the little trick, right? When we're doing it the long way, you must have a gradual decrease of the powers, like how you have 4x cubed here. You notice after that it's supposed to have an x squared, but the examiner didn't give us an x squared. So to make it work, you're going to have to put 0x squared, or otherwise you will not be able to divide it. And then you put the minus 7x and the minus 3. And when you divide this, if this is truly a factor, you will end up with 0 down here. And better yet, you will get the quadratic on top. And once you get the quadratic, we can factorize it. Let's see if you really get 0 when we divide. 2x, you'll get 2x squared here. Don't forget to put your minus signs here. You get 0 here. That's good news. 0 minus 2x squared. A minus and a plus is a minus. You get minus 2x squared here. Minus 7x joins the party, right? Now we have a little I think we're going to get a decimal here, right? Everyone agrees with that, that we're going to get a decimal somewhere on top here. How much of you all got a decimal here? No, sorry, we won't get a decimal. I'm talking shippiness, sorry. You'll get minus 1x here, or minus x, however you want to put it. I'll put it 1. And then you'll get minus 2x squared minus x. Put a minus and a next minus. Minus 7 plus x is minus 6x minus 3. 6x, well, 6 divided by 2, you'll get minus 3. Put a minus and a minus. I got 0 at the end, right? How much of y'all got the quadratic on top here? Right? Now remember, you don't have to solve the quadratic. They didn't ask you to solve anything. They just ask you to factorize it. So we know the first factor is what? 2x plus 1. But we have 2 more brackets to go here, right? Using your normal math skills, right? And you all could factorize a quadratic. Wasn't that like form 3? And plus you had some homework to do on it on how to factorize a quadratic. When you we call it the A multiplied by C method. If they had asked us to solve it, well, then we would have used the minus b plus or minus square root formula. But we just want to factorize it. So factorize it and using whichever method you wish. Quadratic on top. That the orange answer, which represents that, I'm getting 2x minus 3 and x plus 1. How much people could agree with that? You can have the x plus 1 first, obviously. But this is what I am getting. Double check it. That next question is about. Oh, by the way, this is probably one of the hardest questions you could get in the CXC exam, right? So even if you didn't get it correct, if you actually just understood it, feel real good and confident about yourself, because the questions don't really get much harder than that. Try this question. One is worth 2 marks, one is worth 4 marks. So I'm pretty sure everyone is finished with part 1 at least, right? All they had to do was take the factor, which is x plus 2, once again, put it equal to 0 and solve for x. To show it's a factor, you go and replace all the x's with what? Minus 2, right? So I'm going to quickly do part A, right? So 2 minus 2 cubed minus 7 minus 2 squared. Right, so when you work this out, let's hope we get 0. Minus 2 cubed is minus 8. We'll get minus 16. Minus 28 plus 20 plus 24. Right, so I believe we're going to get 0 there. I'm going to double check it on my calculator. Yep, we get 0 when we work this out. So yes, it is a factor. And you all know what to do from here. To factorize it now, you take the first factor and we show it's a factor and we divide it. And we'll get a quadratic on top. Factorize the quadratic and you're done. We have. Oh, yeah, we are kind of scary looking one, right? So give it a read. Let me zoom in a little bit. Oy. First of all, they said fx. Now, fx come like y, right? Don't let fx and gx get to you. Fx and gx is the same thing as the letter y or whatnot, right? You don't have to let it get to you. Now, they said both of them have a common factor. So they use the word factor. So that means x minus 2 is a factor here, and x minus 2 is another factor. So what's going to happen? Well, what they're really trying to say is this. Since x minus 2 is a factor, if we put it equal to 0 and we solve for x, we are going to get what? 2. Which means if we go over here and replace all the x's with 2, you will get it to be equal to 0. And also over here, if you go and replace all the x's here with 2, you will also get what? 0. So let's do the first one. Let me help you with the first one. So let's go to the first equation, x cubed and whatnot. Let's replace all the x's with what? 2. 2 to the power 3, because it's this x here. Don't let the a and b get to you. A minus 3, replace this x with 2 plus 2b. And if we do that, we are supposed to get how much? 0, because we said it was what? A factor. So let's simplify this. 2 to the power 3 is 8. Here we have a bracket and a value outside. We have to multiply everyone inside here by 2. 2 by a is 2a. 2 by minus 3 is minus 6. Plus 2b is equal to 0. Let's simplify this. Leave the a and b on this side. So 2a plus 2b. And if we throw everyone on the other side, right? I'm just saying, if we throw everyone on the other side, we will get positive 6 minus 8, which is how much? Minus 2. This here is equation 1. Do the same thing for gx. Go and replace all the x's with what? 2. Put it equal to 0, and you will get a second equation. And guess what you do? Solve the two equations simultaneously. So it's a simultaneous equation in disguise. Okay? When I substituted in, this is what I got. And when I simplified the second equation, I'm getting 10a plus 4b is equal to minus 28. And this is equation 2. And what you want to do is solve these two equations simultaneously. You can choose whichever method you prefer from here, whether it's elimination, substitution, or whatever one you're comfortable with. Right? So you have to solve. When you solve for a and b, you're supposed to get a. Well, I told you a was minus 4. They made it clear that a was minus 4. But you're supposed to get b as positive 3. Right? Now, I'm not going to work through the simultaneous equation part, as that's regular maths. But I will focus a lot on part 2. Right? So, oh, sure, I've gotten that in the recording there. Right? So all I did was replace a's and the b's, and I simplified it to get this, and I went to gx and I replaced all the a's and b's with the values and simplified it. And the next step now is to factorize the red one and the blue one. So when we fully factorize the first quadratic, this is the expression I got. Right? So after, right, we need to factorize the orange one now. So divide it through. And when you finish the second factorization, you will notice something very, very similar in between both answers. Right? So Gemma, I think you have that correct. Late. Right? For those who came to class a little bit late today, at the beginning of class, I was just reminding everyone that the registration for September has started. So if you're interested, you just need to have your parents WhatsApp me, and I'll send them the registration form.